Well, I want to talk about why it took me 4 years to make 6 figures with my marketing agency. A lot of people, when they start a business, a lot of them are able to make 6 figures in the first year. Some are even able to make, 7 figures. And so 6 figures, that's always everybody's goal. 7 figures is kind of a unicorn special in your first year. But for me, my experience was 4 years before I made 6 figures with my marketing agency. And so number one reason why it took me 4 years, and 4 years might be pretty impressive for some. Some might think that it's quick. Others might think that it's too long. And I can only talk about my experience. If you ask me, I wish I could have made 6 figures a lot quicker, but that wasn't my path. Life told me that it's going to take me 4 years, so we live with that. Well, reason number one why it took me 4 years is the fact that I just wasn't working hard enough. In the very beginning, I thought that I was giving it my all, but I really wasn't. I was validating my excuses. I thought that I was working hard, but I really wasn't. I had a full-time job at the time. I was a sales guy at a phone company selling phone plans and internet. And so I was getting experience in sales, but my heart wasn't all in 100%. And I'm not saying that you need to be doing your business 100% full time before you can make 6 figures. But when you're starting out, it takes a lot of effort and time, especially because in the beginning, that's just the learning stages. You're learning so much. And it's really important that you really put a lot of time and effort in understanding your business. So for me, as much as I would love to say that I was giving it my all, now from a macro perspective, looking back, I know I wasn't giving it my all. In the beginning, I kind of just liked the idea of having a business more than actually doing the business itself. So the first year of business, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I only made $2,000. And then on the second year, I made $17,000. And then on the third year, we made, I think, $64,000. And then on the fourth year, that's when we made the 6-figure mark. And then on the fifth year, that's when we really excelled. And then now I shut it down. But so yeah, the first lesson is that I just wasn't taking it serious. And second thing, why for me personally, I think that it took some time, is because I really didn't understand my business. I didn't really understand what it was that I was trying to do. I was trying to provide all the services under the sun. When I first started, we were offering website design. We were providing SEO, we were providing videos, we were providing photos. You named it, we would do it. And the reason why we did that is because we didn't want to leave any money on the table. And that was the number one mistake. We were trying to be too greedy because we wanted to make sure that we covered all grounds. But the problem with that is we were lost, right? There was no direction on how we were going to market our business, because if we were offering all those services, how do we go on about marketing our photography service? How do we go on about marketing our website design services? How do we go on about marketing our SEO services? So it was just all over the place. And the thing with that is that I was confused. And because I was confused with the business that I was running, people were confused as well. Because if you run a business and you can't communicate to the world on what it is that you do, how do you expect people to know exactly what it is that you do if you yourself, the business owner, can't even explain what it is that you do? And so that was problem number 2. It's trying to provide all the services, trying to cater to everybody. And frankly, number 3 is that I didn't really know how to market myself. I was so focused on the services that we provide. I was always so focused on telling people, hey, we know how to do X, Y, Z. But the problem with that is I never really uncovered why people should get those services from us. I never really uncovered people's pain points. I never really uncovered why people needed that type of service from us, right? It was basic. I wasn't even running a business now that I think about it. I was basically just operating as a freelancer. And I was so focused on telling people that I can do the job rather than telling them I can solve their problem. So that was a problem, not really understanding my business fully, being confused because I was trying to do everything, trying to be, a jack of all trades, but a master of none. It really is true. And as the business progressed, the more we niched down, the more money we made, because the easier it was to explain to the world what it is that we did, right? I'm gonna make another video about the secret to be able to sell anything. And one of those secrets is knowing your business better than anybody. That way you can control the conversation. That way you can always be selling. Because if you know what it is, a lot of people know what they're selling, but people don't understand what it is that they're selling. And the biggest difference between knowing what you sell is that you can just tell people that you provide an X service or you can give them an X product. But understanding it is being able to talk to anybody and be able to inject your product or service in their scenario. You're able to manipulate the conversation in a way that benefits you so that you can sell them your product or your service. That's the difference between knowing and understanding. Understanding is when you talk to someone for the first time and you speak to them for 5 minutes, you can already uncover gaps in their life or in their business where you can implement your products or your service because you know your business that well. Another thing that really took a while on making the 6 figures is the business model. The business model that I had in the beginning was that it was just a project basis. And so the problem with that is when you do close a project, it's nice. You get paid a few $1,000s, a few $100s. But then after that project is done, you now have to go out into the world and look for another client, look for another project so you can get another paycheck. And so the moment I was able to switch the business model from project basis to a retainer model, it changed everything because the retainer model allowed me to have consistent income. Everything was predictable. The amount of money that I was going to make on a month-to-month basis was predictable. I was able to invest a lot more money into the business just because I knew how much money was going to be coming in. It also just alleviated a lot of stress trying to find the next client, because when I close a client and we put them on a retainer for 3 months, 6 months, I knew that we were making that money consistently. And the best part about retainer is that when you can stack it, when you have your first one, second one, third, fourth, fifth client, now it just all adds up. Even if each client is just paying you like $3,000, you get 3 clients and you're at $9,000. And so changing the business model to a retainer client, to a retainer basis was really good, because then the lifetime value of that client increases significantly, right? Because if you're just doing a project, if you're just working on a project basis, then even if they pay you $2,000 or $5,000, then the relationship just ends there after the project is done. Whereas if you close them one time and let's say you charge them $3,500 a month, then you're looking at what? $11,500 as a lifetime value for those 3 months. And if you do a really good job, then you can extend that agreement. So that's that. And the other thing I forgot in the very beginning was that when I first started my business, I thought that I could figure it all out myself. I didn't really look for mentors. I have this characteristic that I really don't like, that doesn't really serve me that well. Sometimes it does, but I have this mentality that I can figure everything out on my own. And so I was really lost. I didn't really understand the business. I just thought that, like, you know, I'll figure it out as I go. But looking back now, if I had just spoke to the right people, I would have been able to accelerate the progress of the business. I should have asked the right questions. I should have been curious and talked to the people that were doing well, people that were already making six figures. If I had conversations with those people, I know that I would have accelerated my progress in the business. And the last thing, and probably the most important, is that I didn't know how to garner attention. In the beginning, I thought that I just, would post a few videos on Instagram, and I would think that people would just all of a sudden buy my service. But that was not the case. You gotta be able to show up in front of the people. You gotta show up every single fucking day. You gotta understand that the world is competitive. And so if you're not showing up consistently, someone else will. Someone else is gonna be taking your client. Someone else is trying to make that money. So I thought that posting a few times a month was gonna do it, but it took me a few years to understand that I had to get more attention. Oh, it's getting really cold. We might have to cut this short. And my cigar is almost done. But yeah, learn how to get attention. Attention is everything. Attention is the new currency. You could have the best business in the world, but if nobody knows about it, then it's pointless. Because at the end of the day, if your clients don't know that you exist, then it doesn't matter. I know a lot of dumb people that are making a lot of money just because they know how to get attention. There's a lot of kids out there that are doing drop shipping, that are selling some stupid products, but are making seven figures because they know how to garner attention. And I also know entrepreneurs who invested multi-six figures into their business, but they're so stubborn on showing up on social media and letting the world know that they exist because they think that they have the best business, they have the best invention, and clients are just gonna come. But what they don't understand is without attention, it means nothing. So understand how you can get attention as early as possible. That's why Facebook is so successful, because people pay them millions of dollars, billions of dollars each year to buy attention, to buy eyeballs. And so if you don't have the money to pay for Facebook ads, you definitely should be making a lot of content. Tell the world you exist. I mean, last year I did this challenge where I challenged myself to make $100,000 in 100 days. And I was able to complete that in 63 days. I never thought that would be possible, but I was able to do this in just 63 days. And the crazy thing about this is that I closed a few clients, and a lot of them had said that, David, the only reason why I'm really working with you is because of your challenge. You're creating content every single day. You're showing up on my feed all the time, and I figured it was time to work with you. I've had a lot of people that were following me for years, and then all of a sudden, they now wanted to work with me. You just gotta remind people that you exist. You gotta remind people that you're there. You gotta remind people that you're active. You gotta show people that you wanna play. But yeah. So those were the things that I would say is the reason why it took me 4 years to build six figures, to build a six-figure business. Now that I'm starting fresh, starting a new business, this is really small now, I know that I'm gonna be able to build a six-figure business in less than a year. I'm gonna be able to apply all the lessons that I've learned in the last 4 years and apply this to Inbound Dental, and hopefully you know, get to six figures in the next few months. But yeah, still takes a lot of work, discipline, and most importantly, you know, dedication and not giving up. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is the first episode of Cigar Lessons with yours truly, David Castillo. It is cold. Crazy thing is, it's 12:30 in the morning right now, and I should get home. I gotta go walk my dog. And yeah, right now I'm just in an empty parking lot here. I grew up here in this neighborhood, so this parking lot once again holds a lot of memory.